So you guys are talking about like who the Dems could possibly pick in 2024, and like I just so happen to have a piece of news for you about that. I wasn't going to do this story tonight, but I guess I can since you guys mention it. Bernie Sanders leaves door open to 2024 White House run. This was September 27th, so this is about 2 days ago. Bernie Sanders on Monday said he hadn't yet decided whether he will make another bid for the White House. So, do we actually have a clip of this?
'22 is just 6 weeks away at this point, and in some states, voters are already.
I mean, at this point in time, you gotta ride the Bernie train again because we don't have a deep bench yet. We've got some really good representatives, but they aren't seasoned enough yet. The one representative I thought might be there would be Katie Porter, and that's who I was really getting behind, but it doesn't appear that she has those aspirations just yet. So the only person who has the infrastructure, the name value that could actually pull it off, even if it is just yet another move the party left symbolic run, is Bernie Sanders. So I will ride the Bernie train one more time.
Already casting their ballots. According to the latest CBS Battleground Tracker poll, here's where things stand. Republicans are still very likely to recapture the House of Representatives, but Democrats do have some momentum there. Over on the Senate side, that remains a true toss-up with close races all across the country. So, what should Democrats be focusing on?
I will tell you, old school, that other than just this interview and him being coy about it, he has set up some of the infrastructure that you would need in order to make a 2024 run. Like, it's ready to go. So there are other hints that Bernie is indeed going to run again.
On between now and November. Let's talk to an independent about it. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is here. Senator, good morning.
Boy, does he look happy.
I sat down just the other day with Rick Scott, a Republican senator, and he talked a bit about the Republican priorities. They are saluting the flag, learning that America is great, education. They don't want people asking about race or ethnicity on any government forum. That's their second priority. Immigration is 4, crime is 3rd. On immigration, they want to build the wall, and they want to end what they say is immigration without assimilation. That's the Republicans. Where do you think Democrats need to be?
Well, I think what Democrats have to recognize is that right now we are living in a society where the people on top.
We live in a society
doing phenomenally well, and working people are falling further and further behind. So we need an agenda that speaks to the needs of working people. What does that mean? It means that we have got to end the absurdity of being the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people. Health care is a human right. We pay twice as much per capita on health care because the insurance companies make zillions of dollars every single year. Now, you want to know what we should do? We should have the guts to take on the pharmaceutical industry. Charges us 10 times more for particular drugs than the people of any other country. We should raise the minimum wage to a living wage. We should expand Social Security because half of the elderly people in this country trying to get by on $25,000.
That's like we need to make America great again.
You want a strong country? You want a great country? You make sure that every kid, regardless of income, has the opportunity to get a college education, not leave school deeply in debt. That means making public colleges and universities tuition free. And you know what, Tony? Everyone.
And I just want to point out that, like, not talking about policy like this and talking about dumb shit like quarter-page FISA warrants is exactly what the right wing does in order to distract.
One of these ideas is enormously popular because we're going to pay for it by telling the billionaire class, who in some cases pay nothing in federal taxes, they're going to have to start paying their fair share.
You don't have majorities to get any of it done at the moment. I guess that's what it's about. One way that wages might go up, and this goes to working people as well, is making college more affordable. There's a controversial move right now from the Biden administration to forgive $400 billion, according to CBO, in student loans. Most people in this country still do not go to college. So that means that's a benefit for a minority of us. And it's controversial. Where do you stand on it?
It's not controversial.
The Trump administration gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1% and large corporations. When you have major corporations today, some of the biggest in this country, make billions of dollars a year in profit, don't pay a nickel in taxes. You know what? I think it is appropriate to tell.
Not only don't pay a nickel in taxes, we give $6 trillion a year. Just give $6 trillion a year to the oil industry. The entire amount of student loan debt in this country is $1.75 trillion. That's over the last, since we've been keeping track for the last 32 years. We give the fossil fuel industry $6 trillion in 1 year. That's almost enough to pay off all student loan debt 3 times over.
A younger generation that in many ways has a standard of living which is lower than their parents, that we are going to help. What was their crime? They wanted to go to college. I have talked to people, medical school, nursing school, leave school $100,000 in debt. That's insane. So I think we need to help those people. But I think, Tony, the point that we got to get back to, we don't talk about it on TV very much. We don't talk about it in Congress very much. You got 3 people in America who own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Gap between the very rich and everybody else is growing wider. Maybe, just maybe, we demand that the people on top start paying their fair share of taxes.
I have a question for you.
They were stunned.
Because clearly you have not lost your enthusiasm. And I speak to you as a fellow.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Somebody told me this morning, Senator Sanders.
Let's get into it.
Well, Gil, you're a senior citizen. I go, I am? What's the definition of a senior citizen? And he went over the age of 65. So you're 81, President Biden is 79. And there is a group of younger politicians who say, now is the time to let the younger generation come through.
And most Americans, according to numerous polls, including a CBS poll, say, yes, there should be age limits.
Yes.
And in fact, the older people support age limits more than younger people.
Yeah.
Where are you on that question, Mr. 81-year-old?
Yes.
Excuse me, what did you say?
God, I love him.
Look, this is what I think. You can't categorize everybody. You're different than everybody.
Yeah.
We're all different.
Yeah.
You got to look at the individual. But what I think.
Well, see, that's the cool thing about Bernie is that he will platform the younger generation, and he is all for that, and that's why, we have to use Bernie as a jumping-off point. But, man, his response to that was hilarious. He is so razor-sharp.
What we do, guys, is we look too much at race, at gender, at age. What does somebody stand for?
Yeah.
What are their views? Do you agree with them? Are they standing for you? Or are they standing for the big money interest? And obviously, you want people who are competent, capable of the energy. I mean, my God, to be president of the United States requires an enormous amount of energy. But I would say, first of all, take a look at what people stand for. And we don't do that enough. We're too much into personality.
What people stand for and what are their capabilities.
Right.
Listen, I sit here, I can't imagine doing this job at 81 saying, Tony and Nate, do you have my sensible shoes? I can't imagine doing that, but who knows?
Yeah.
But as you sit here at 81 and Joe Biden's 79, do you think he should run again for the presidency?
Well, that's his decision.
I know it's his decision.
Joe is a friend of mine, and I think against enormous opposition, he has tried to do some very, very good things, and he will make that decision himself. But I think, again, and you're not going to hear this much on corporate television, if I may say so. What we need is, Gail, what we need is
what do
people.
You think?
What do I think? That's his decision. No,
okay,
that's his decision.
All right.
What I think is we need millions of people to start reclaiming their country and demanding an economy that works for all. We have got to deal with the fact oil companies, huge profits, food companies, huge
He brought it back to what matters.
to fill up a tank of gas. So
Do you plan to run again?
that's something, I haven't made that decision. Right now, my focus, and I'll be going around the country, dealing with trying to elect often young progressives, often young people of color.
Exactly. Young progressives. And that was one of the things that so attracted me to him was that, at the start of a debate, they would do the opening statements where I have 5 grandkids and blah, blah, blah. Bernie's like, we need health care in this country. Does not even mention I'm Bernie Sanders and we need health care in this country. We need a living wage. Just bam, right to policy. And that is what I appreciate. And he did a fantastic job of reframing the discussion.
Yeah.
Who are prepared to stand up for working families and take on big money interests.
I want to ask you about the
democracy itself.
Me too. Go ahead.
about the January 6th committee. They're having their last hearing this week.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Tomorrow.
What have you heard that has maybe given you the idea that they could possibly charge former President Trump?
Well, look, one of the saddest things, in politics, I have conservative friends, and I hope people respect each other.
Damn right, old school.
Of course.
But what we have seen in recent years is a Republican Party move very far to the right, and in many respects, no longer believe in democracy. What January 6th was about is essentially an attempt to overturn the United States government and prevent the guy who won the election from taking office.
Not everybody
People are
sees
using
it that
the
way.
word coup.
Well, I know. That's the way I see it. I was in the building at the time.
Some
as a
people are
matter of
using
fact.
the word
Senator,
coup. Yeah.
most voters are worried about democracy for the reasons that
That's
you're laying
right.
out here. So what can you do as a senator? What's your role in fixing it?
Well, all right. Now, I'm going to give you a different answer than other people do. And my answer is that right now, a lot of people are losing faith in government. If you were a worker out there, and your job went to China, your job went to Mexico, you're making less than you used to make, your kid can't afford to go to college, you can't afford health care, and somebody puts a 30-second ad up on CBS and vote for me. You say, go to hell. You're all the same. You're not doing anything for me. You want to restore democracy? Have a government that works for ordinary people and has the guts. So, by the way, when you talk about
Public financing campaigns.
you understand that right now billionaires are putting hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into TV ads. So my advice to the viewers, when you see a TV ad, kind of ask yourself which billionaire is funding it and why. What do they want?
What are they
How many
trying to
more
say?
tax breaks do they want? How much more corporate welfare do they want? Ask that question.
Do you think all billionaires are bad?
No, I don't. But I think
But-
when you have enormous, terrible and inequality in America, when you got
I don't think all billionaires are inherently bad, but I think they are incentivized to behave very badly.
billionaires buying islands and buying jet planes, and we got people sleeping out on the street. I do not believe that is what this country is supposed to be about. So, again, you're not going to hear it much on corporate television. I happen to believe that we need redistribution of wealth in this country. We need to protect the middle class and working class, and the billionaires cannot have it all. That's my view.
This phrase, redistribution of wealth, is not one you hear from other Democrats.
No, you
You're
don't. But you know what,
independent,
Tony? This is an important point. There has been a massive redistribution of wealth in the last 50 years. Did you know that?
I among
it's headed in one
few
direction.
have-
It's gone in the wrong direction. Exactly.
Yep.
Massive. We're talking about trillions of dollars going into the 1% while the working class and the middle class become poorer. We have to deal with that issue.
I hear what you're saying. Senator Sanders, thank you so much.
And people act like this happens in a vacuum or something, that resources and wealth are infinite, and they're not. And some dude the other day literally said to me, someone else being rich doesn't make you poor. And I said, yes, that's literally how it works. There is only so much of the pie. And Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and they're not the only ones. There's like fucking 400 billionaires. There's too many goddamn billionaires. And I don't even know that it's a small percentage. I don't think you can become a billionaire without unethical means. I honestly don't. I think you might be able to become a millionaire and be ethical, but I don't think you can become a billionaire ethically.